Graphic Horrors is where I take a look at comic books in horror. And today I'm going to look at one of my own, Gravetrancers. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, remember to give this video a like, share with your buddies across the electronic superhighway, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Please get the word out about this channel to new folks so that I can tame and tempt that all-important YouTube algorithm. Time for some self-promotion. I wouldn't do a video about this if it wasn't something I think followers of this channel might be interested in. So I have a comic book that I wrote coming out on September 5th called Gravetrancers. This is a trade paperback collecting the 4-issue miniseries, and I think if you're a fan of this horror channel, it's something you might dig. The final order cutoff for Gravetrancers is August 10th, so there's still time to let your comic shop know that you need a copy. This is a collaboration I did with Black Mass Studios, a company that is known to take risks and put out off-the-wall content. And Gravetrancers definitely falls into that category. The story is a morbid one. A brother and sister, Anthony and Maribel, are searching for the grave of their estranged father. This leads them 2 states away, on the edge of Chicago, to the Burwood Funeral Parlor and Memorial Park. This cemetery is run by an eccentric and strange family, the Malorts, and it seems they have quite the scam running as they resell the plots of the cemetery and use the corpses as the main ingredient in a highly addictive drug they make and distribute out of the back of their cemetery. When Maribel and Anthony uncover this scam, they find themselves trapped in a nightmare they cannot escape. Gravetrancers is inspired by true events. Not only does this book delve into historical instances where dead bodies have been purposed for drug use, such as Tupac Shakur's band smoking his ashes, and Keith Richards snorting the cremains of his late father, but it also comes from a story I heard quite a while ago about a South Chicago cemetery that actually did resell the plots on their land and tossed the bodies into a gigantic body pit in the back of their property. Loved ones from miles away came to find their relatives' resting places, only to be severely disappointed and completely grossed out by the stench and the foul act of improper disposal of the corpses. After hearing this story, I was so freaked out that I knew I had to write something about it one day. But aside from the morbid reality behind Gravetrancers, I also made sure that it was a love letter to all kinds of grindhouse and slasher horror films that are near and dear to me. Films like Motel Hell and other cannibal farmer films inspired the story, along with Joe D'Amato's classic Beyond the Darkness, a diabolical and schlocky film about a boy and his deep love for his dead girlfriend. I was also inspired by Psycho and Clive Barker's near-epic Nightbreed. I buried quite a few little nods and winks to classic horror stories in the comic for shrewd readers to discover. The Miller family is most definitely inspired by the Sawyers from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I always saw the Sawyers as each having a function in their family, moving their victims along as if they were cattle in a slaughterhouse. And it's the same with the Malorts, as each have a purpose to ensure the entire operation runs smoothly. Each member of the family is more twisted than the next. There's Mam Malort, the matriarch of the family who runs the show from her mansion resting at the entrance of the cemetery. Her dementia makes her rather cranky, but Mam rules over her sons with a shaky but iron fist. Godfrey lives with Mam in the main house, and he keeps the entire operation going. Godfrey takes part in some extremely perverse acts that are best left unspoken. Pryber's the alpha son, living in the rundown church in the back of the cemetery that he's converted into a makeshift meth lab. He brews the deathly concoction and takes joy in doling out that very first taste for his victims. Prim is the lost child who succumbed to the drugs produced from Pryber's temple long ago. He wanders the caverns that run deep under the cemetery, populated with an army of those addicted to the powerful drug. And finally, there's the lovable Shovel, who is the caretaker and gravedigger of the cemetery, and has a face not even his mother can love. Each member of the family has a job to do, and each one is more deadly than the next. But what's a story without heroes? Gravetrancers has 2 of them in Anthony and Maribel, but they aren't your typical Hollywood protagonists. Anthony is not the brightest bulb in the batch, but he loves his older sister, Maribel, and has a deep longing to connect with his past, and that includes seeing the grave of a father he doesn't remember. Maribel remembers her father and has the scars to prove it. She unfortunately remembers when her father left and really has no desire to reconnect. But Maribel loves her little brother, and her AA sponsor thinks it would be good for her to get some closure as well. Maribel's former drug addiction definitely comes into play as she enters the Malort's web of horror. Bringing all of this to life are the surreal and sinister pencils and inks of artist James Michael Whynot. This is the first time we've collaborated together, but once I saw the perverse and outlandish way he brought the characters to life, I really knew I could get nuts with the drugged-out hallucinations I had planned for the story. James's style is the perfect fit for the questionable reality of the world Anthony and Maribel become trapped in. Amplifying the oddity to outlandish levels are the colors of one D. Cunniffe. D has worked with Donny Cates on his bloody redneck comic and brings the same gory and trippy hues to this comic. D's colors elevate this horror story to Technicolor heights. Finally, there's Jim Campbell, letterer extraordinaire, who offers up his own brand of magic and mayhem to the book. The letterers are the unsung heroes in comics, often one of the last eyes to check out the comic before it's deemed done. I've worked with Jim scores of times, and his shrewd eye has become crucial to my creative process. I hope you don't mind me indulging in a little backstory and detail about Gravetrancers. It's a book my team and I have put a lot into, and one I think will be appreciated by horror fans. Hopefully something in this video will have tempted you to check out my ghoulish story and order the trade from your comic store. Just for shits and giggles, I did put together a Spotify playlist that goes along with reading Gravetrancer. It's filled with songs that both inspired and helped me get through the creative process of making this book. I hope you enjoy that. The link is down below in the description. So while you're reading about this morbid story, you can rock on with the playlist down below. Again, Gravetrancers will be in comic shops September 5th, 2020, but be sure to remind your comic shop to order it by the final order cutoff date of August 10th. Okay, enough self-indulgence. If you like this video, please pound the thumbs up button. Share the video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on mlmillerwrites.com. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first one to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. God live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside that